Hey, what's up guys? Shuckle King here, bringing you my Week 4 game for UDL. This week we're facing off against II and Ultrasun Ultra Moon. If you guys are enjoying this content, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate everyone's support. Hopefully we can get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So, II's team is very scary at the top and not too scary for his last picks, but he has a top 3 that are super strong, so we'll see if this approach works out for him or not. So his team, as you can see in the right corner, he has Genesect, Mega Latias, and Tornadus T with Z moves. They are 3 very powerful Pokemon. I believe they cost him 70% of his budget, so he had to get 5 other Pokemon at 30% of his budget. So he didn't have a lot of points to work with, but I feel like his last 5 picks were fine to complement these other Pokemon. He has Steelix, which is his only rocker on his team, so if he doesn't bring Steelix, I don't have to worry about rocks for Charizard X. So he's probably bringing Steelix and having rocks. Gardevoir with Z-Axis it's a fine Z captain, not great, but it has really high special attack, so you could work with that with Gardevoir as like a breaker. Lantern is here, which is a very good check into Tornadus T, so I guess he doesn't have to worry about Lantern checking Tornadus T, and Lantern's like a good check to other high-tier Pokemon generally. Lantern is good. Drapion as a poison type and a dark type, so able to absorb toxic spikes. Not that I'm bringing any in this game. And then Girder is pretty good, and I think it's going to come to this game, even though it's his cheapest Pokemon. So, his threats, the top 3. So, obviously, Genesect. It doesn't have Z, but it has a ton of options. Special attacking sets with Bug Buzz can bypass like Electros and maybe even to a KO it. Fire coverage, obviously, for the Aegislash and the Kartana. You could run Setup and outspeed a bunch of stuff. Really, like, Bug Buzz plus Flamethrower, because you probably want to run Special to not get hit by Aegislash. Really, the only Pokemon that takes it on okay is Charizard X and maybe a Assault Vest Electros. But Electros wants to check a lot of things this game, mainly the Tornadus T, so I'm not sure how well of a job Electros is going to do in handling Genesect. So yeah, Genesect is a very big threat, but fortunately we do have Charizard X that handles it fine. And again, he only has 1 rocker, so if Steelix doesn't come, or if he doesn't get rocks up at Steelix, then Charizard is like fine in taking on Genesect. Mega Latias is like equally as strong, maybe even stronger, just because I had to like commit so many resources to handling Genesect. Latias outspeeds the Charizard, so obviously a prop in there and can hit it with Dragon coverage. I imagine it's probably going to be Dragon coverage plus Shadow Ball, which will hit the Aegislash and also hit the Kartana. I think you can run Hidden Power Fire here, but it's just weaker against the Aegislash as opposed to Shadow Ball. So I think you're going to run Shadow Ball plus probably Dragon Pulse with Calm Mind and Recover, probably with max HP and probably with max speed outspeed a Kartana. Though you could run some Defense plus an S-Speed, outspeed, max speed Charizard X is also an option that the Latias could go with. Tornadus T, I do have an Electros, which is a good answer to Tornadus. But outside of that, and I guess Aegislash also takes on Tornadus fine. You probably bring like Z with Heat Wave, so Fire EM Z seems pretty good with the Tornadus to hit the Eel for some damage, and you'll hit the Aegislash. Maybe Hurricane, U-Turn, and Knockoff. Knockoff to get rid of any items, U-Turn for general momentum in this game. You could also be like Assault Vest, I suppose, to maybe take on like Greninja, but I don't think you have to worry too much about Greninja as a Tornadus. Girder, I think, is pretty likely to come. Probably max physically defensive, max HP, max defense to take on Mega Charizard X. I am like maybe 3 coming with Flare Blitz, but you also recover HP with Drain Punch from Girder. And I'm taking Recall itself by using Flare Blitz. So it's like you basically trade your Charizard X for your Girder almost, and that's a trade he'll definitely take, and that's not a trade I want to do, ideally. I can do more damage with the Charizard X than trade with his cheapest Pokemon on his team. It also has Mach Punch. Probably going to be just bulk up Drain Punch, knock off Mach Punch. That'll hit the Kartana as well. Knockoff will hit Aegislash, though obviously if you get hit by the King Shield, then that's problematic. Mach Punch is good for the Greninja as well. It doesn't hit the Mesprit, though Knockoff it's going to do damage to Mesprit for sure. Mesprit probably doesn't kill with any one hit unless if it's a super offensive set. And if it's super offensive, then it has to worry about switching into a knockoff. So Girder's pretty good here. Drapion, I think, similar to Crocodile, might function as an Assault Vest or a very special defensive role to handle my Aegislash. Probably have Earthquake similar to Crocodile, though it's not going to hit as hard. If you're like AV or very special defensive Drapion, you also handle Greninja okay, outside of like a Crocodile. Though I don't know how much damage Drapion's doing back return to Greninja. It probably beats it. And obviously it also handles Mesprit very well. I don't really have too much coverage for that. You can run Hidden Power Ground or just U-Turn out, or maybe Specs would do a lot of damage if it switches in, but you have to worry about Mesprit switching into a Drapion itself, so that's not great. And Steelix is probably certainly the 6th Pokemon, and I'm pretty confident these 6 are going to come, but Steelix probably is the last Pokemon to get Rocks up to handle Charizard X, because Charizard X is quite good in this game. And I imagine Steelix is probably going to be Akaberry as well to take a hit from the Charizard X if it's boosted, and then you can return with a Earthquake, or you could go for a Roar if you're worried about like a Will-O-Wisp Charizard X. That seems a little bit too slow to get going in this game, but I suppose it could be a possibility. It could also be special defensive Steelix with Akaberry. That'll take on Charizard like good enough, and you would take on Z special Aegislash hits if that's going to be the scenario, since I don't know if you live a +2 Swords Dance boost at Sacred Sword, probably not. If I go for the Z, and I don't think you're gonna run Chapel Berry on the Steelix, but outside of that, I think you handle physical Aegislash like fine. Gardevoir could be Choice Scarf to take on Grand, probably not. Lantern could be physically defensive for Charizard X, and maybe like Rindo Berry physically defensive to also like take a Kartana Leaf Blade randomly and kill it HP Fire. They seem just unlikely. It could be T-Wave spam, but again, I really think it's going to be those 6 Pokemon I mentioned before. I don't think Gardevoir and I don't think Lantern come in this game. And I'm not really prepping for either of them, honestly. I'm really prepping for Genesect, Latias, Torn, Steelix, Drapion, and Girder as the 6. So my team, as first you see here, is Aegislash with Ghost DMZ. Enough special attack to 2-KO Max Drapion after Rocks with Flash Cannon. Shadow Ball to Latias if it has 2 Calm Minds, Z Shadow Ball plus Rocks plus Shadow Sneak kill Mega Latias if it's a max HP. So Calm Mind Mega Latias definitely an issue, and if it gets enough Calm Mind boost, like Aegislash can boost a special attack outside of like a weakness policy, and Latias can just boost that special attack indefinitely if it expects me to be a special set. If it expects me to be a physical set, then you can go for the and like you do have to worry about Swords Dance and such with King Shield, but you have other ways to respond to Aegislash if that's going to be the response. You don't have to set up with Latias, but if you know if Aegislash is especially attacking base, then Mega Latias can go for Calm Minds and probably bypass Aegislash. So I do have to watch out for that. I really want to use the Ghost MC wisely. Ideally, I don't use that on the Drapion, or I don't. Ideally, I don't use it on Drapion, and honestly, I wanted to kill the Latias. That would be the goal of Ghost DMZ on Aegislash. But it also just hit the team super hard in general. It'll hit Genesect really hard. It'll hit the Steelix. I believe it'll kill Genesect, especially after a Shadow Sneak as well, hitting Genesect. Then I don't have to worry about extreme speed with my Aegislash. I have defense to take 2 Earthquakes from max attack Drapion. And then I threw the rest of my EVs into a special defense to try to live Flamethrowers from Genesect, try to live Heat Waves from Torn T, Shadow Balls from Mega Latias. A lot of special options there. Charizard X is the next Pokemon I have, and it looks like a pretty standard set. Dragon Dance, Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw, Roost. Again, I want to be doing as much damage to Girder as possible early game if Charizard is in early game. And I also want to Flare Blitz early game, because if Steelix is the response as I go for Dragon Dance, then I'll be able to proc its Akaberry, and I may be able to 2-KO if it's special defensive Steelix with 2 Flare Blitz. It really depends, especially if I can get any chip damage up. I probably don't set up as long as Steelix is pretty healthy, and I suspect it might have Akaberry, and if the Girder is max HP. If I Flare Blitz, I 3-KO it, so I can Flare Blitz Charizard onto a Girder. If it switches in, then I can go into, I have Mesprit on the team, or switch into Aegislash, depending on what I want to do there. I do have to watch out for Stealth Rocks, because on this build, I don't have Hazard Removal. No Donphan Rapid Spin or no Kartana Defog. So if Steelix gets Rocks up, they are here to stay. So that is definitely threatening to Charizard X, losing 50% of your health very early on, unless I want to lead with this. And leading with Charizard X does not seem great into Steelix. It'll just kill me in a hit or two. So not ideal there. +1 speed to outspeed the Latias, and if it's max HP, max physically defensive Mega Latias, then my Dragon Claw will kill if I have +1 attack boost. Yeah, I would like to get Charizard in and just get a Dragon Dance and just break as early as possible with this set, and maybe I can heal it up later on. Next Pokemon I have is Choice Scarf Greninja. This will outspeed everything on the team outside of Scarf Tornadus T, which I think has like maybe a 5-10% chance to come. I think it's not 0, but I think it's probably pretty low. It could outspeed like a Autonomized Aegislash if I wanted to bring that. It would outspeed as Choice Scarf Kartana, but I think you could bring other sets just to handle Kartana or Aegislash anyway. So I don't think Torn's gonna be Scarf. So I should be outspeeding everything on the team. This is gonna be the lead. If Steelix leads and goes for rocks, and I just go for Hydro Pump and bring it down to 1%. If it has a 50% berry, then that's fine. If I get a Dragon Dance up with Charizard, then I should kill a Steelix with a +1 Flare Blitz if it's at 50%. Hydro Pump is kind of unfortunate that I have here, but it'll 2-hit KO Girder, and Surf doesn't 2-hit KO Girder, so ideally I can 2-hit KO Girder, so that's why I have Hydro Pump. But I only have a 64% chance to 2-hit KO because Hydro Pump is only 80% accurate, so 2 Hydro Pumps, 64% chance to land 2. So fingers crossed there that happens. If it's special defensive or some mixed defensive Girder, then I wouldn't 2-hit KO either, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it'll be max HP, max defensive Girder, basically. Hidden Power Fire to hit the Genesect, though if Greninja and Genesect are both leads and I U-turn, because I won't kill with Hidden Power Fire. One, if it's Occaberry, then I won't kill. I think I only do like 90% anyway, so I don't want to get rocks off first, and then I can go for Hidden Power Fire to kill the Genesect, though he'll probably scout for that anyway. Dark Pulse hit Mega Latias, and then I said why I had to have Hydro Pump, unfortunately. But I think it makes sense to have it. Electros is here next. I have a special attack, the 3-hit KO Girder, even after it takes HP recovery from Drain Punch. Thunderbolt will 3-hit KO, so that is great. And I'll have Papa Berry so I can heal up if it's 1-on-1 against a Girder. It'll take on the Tornadus pretty well. It takes on Mega Latias well enough. I can go for Toxic, especially if it's not going to be Draco Meteor Mega Latias. If it's just Dragon Pulse, then I should be fine going for Toxics. Maybe pop the Papa Berry and Dragon Tail it out. It's not a great... It's like, I mean, Electros is a good switch into Tornadus for sure. But it could go for Z-Fire, which is definitely strong. It could also just go for knockoffs to make sure it removes any Assault Vest or Papa Berry I have. And then Genesect or Mega Latias take on Electros better later on. So again, it's kind of like an issue against K-Crick. Electros is like the master of nothing, but it like handles a little bit of everything. It hopefully takes 2 Bug Buzzes from Genesect, and I do have more special defense than defense, so that way it doesn't get a +1 special attack boost with Genesect, because Genesect hits very hard if that's the case. And that's pretty much it. Dragon Tail's there in case Mega Latias tries to set up too much. I do have minus speed on the Electros, but I should still outspeed Girder by 6 points, unless you speed creep that, then so be it. I doubt that happens. Next we have Kartana. Maybe I could try to win with this set late game. I don't think I'm going to try to be bringing this out early game, but it's very risky, and Sacred Sword plus knockoff, they're like the 2 best moves I figured were the best way to hit the team, and they don't hit the team great. So they would definitely have to be weakened, but having a Salic Berry and continuous boost in physical attack should be a pretty nice combination there. So yeah, Kartana is also risky this set because Bug Buzz would just bypass my substitute, and then I would be pretty screwed in that scenario if that happens. But hopefully it's weakened and then Sacred Sword will kill. But after a Swords Dance boost, like I deal a lot of damage to everything on the team with knockoff, which will kill max HP Latias after rocks. If I have a knockoff boost, or if it's a max HP +2 boosted Kartana will kill Mega Latias if it's just max HP, max speed. And I will live a +1 Shadow Ball from very minimal attack invested Mega Latias. So very weird set, but hopefully that works out. Obviously Girder can revenge kill me with a Mach Punch, even extreme speed. Genesect could be in a way, though I doubt it. There is a world where I could get a substitutes up as well, and just go for Sacred Swords or knockoffs, and not even go for the Swords Dance. It really depends on the how I set up with the Kartana. But hopefully that'll be cool. I don't outspeed Jolly Genesect or Jolly Drapion, but based on the speed tiers, I don't think there's much reason to run Jolly Genesect or Jolly Drapion. I think you just run Adamant because you're not going to outspeed the Mega Charizard anyway. But I am risking it for the damage output. Again, because I feel like I needed the +2 damage from knockoff to kill the Mega Latias with knockoff. I considered Night Slash, but knockoff I think was fine. And it's like general good utility anyway. Yeah, I have Sacred Sword that'll hit the Drapion plus the Steelix. Plus the Genesect was like the best way to hit everything. Like these two moves hit everything neutral, though. Like it's not doing a ton of damage to Girder. But I have Mesprit, which is the last slot Electros, Charizard, Aegislash. I hopefully could handle the Girder. And then the last Pokemon I have is the Mesprit. It's my rocker. So ideally, you turn out with Gren, make sure Mega or Steelix doesn't get rocks up. Then I go into Mesprit, get rocks up, and then start pressuring the team, and then I could Healing Wish something later on in the game, or Healing Wish early on, and just have the Healing Wish up there. So, actually, that's not how Healing Wish works. This would have to be like early game, I can get rocks, then late game, I can try to Healing Wish up something else if Drapion's going to try to trap me or whatever. Thunder Wave is here for the Drapion. If it goes for Pursuit, I'm not too worried about it because I have Cobra Berry. If Girder's boosted with bulk ups, and I'll be able to take the knockoff fine if he predicts a switch out. And Psychic should be doing a lot of damage to Girder, though I'm probably not going to be killing. I should definitely be 2-hit KOing. And again, Thunder Wave will hit the Torn. I should live a Z hit from the Tornadoes with the bulk I have. I can Thunder Wave the Mega Latias, try to get some hacks in the future. Thunder Wave to Genesect, though I'm going to be dying to a Bug Buzz, so that's not going to be the play. I'd have to switch out an Electros or Aegislash or something like that. Ideally, I don't let Genesect have too many free turns to come in. Unless I know it's Choice Scarf, and then, quote-unquote, not hitting as hard, though it's going to still hit really hard. So, yeah, ideally I lead Gren, force damage on Steelix if it does rock, since I don't have removal on the team. Get up rocks, so Scarf Greninja can kill Genesect with Hidden Power Fire. Flare Blitz to Girder with the Charizard X early game, so it's in 2-hit KO range in the future, to then Dragon Dance up. Late game sub and or Swords Dance with Kartana to try to win, and an Aegislash can just weaken the team a bunch. So hopefully that's a good enough game plan. We definitely want this win to go 2-2. I really wanted to go 2-0 in Oras, so if I did lose these two games against maybe my two toughest opponents, then I'd still be in okay position. Going 1-3 would be tough to get into playoff. Not impossible, but it would be tough. So hopefully we can get this win. So yeah, let's get right into the game. All right, so here's our matchup against II. As we can see, I predicted the team pretty much right. So probably like a Calm Mind, Dragon Pulse, Shadow Ball, Recover Latias, Scarf Genesect maybe, but it could be a lot of things, honestly. Steelix to get rocks up, and probably Akaberry. Tornadoes T with U-Turn knockoff, maybe Fire EMZ, Heat Wave, and Hurricane or something like that. Physically defensive Girder, and probably special defensive Drapion. So the goal here is lead Greninja and pressure if the Steelix wants to lead and get Stealth Rocks up. So we're going to go right into that, and I'm going to lead with the Gren, and he's going to lead with Torn. So I am definitely going to be faster, so that is definitely fine. I'll get a U-turn and go into Mesprit and just try to get up rocks right away, though. Like, he could U-turn and go into Steelix and get his own rocks up, and that wouldn't be great. He could think I'm defog Kartana, so maybe I'm not that worried about rocks getting up on the field. Though going into Mesprit also allows Genesect to come in, so depending on what method he wants to go is going to be pretty threatening. He's going to go into Genesect. Makes sense. Pretty hard to counter it. I really don't have a great counter to Genesect on my team, so when in doubt, I'm going to go into Electros as the Master of None, blanket check to like everything. So we take a Bug Buzz, not well at all, don't go into our Berry range. He does 62%, probably max special attack Timid, probably not a boosting item, so maybe he's Scarf. So I can go into Charizard here. I don't expect him to go for Hidden Power Rock here, because I don't think that would kill. And I would kill a Flamethrower, unless if he's an Akaberry of some sort. So I'm going to go into Charizard. Maybe I should have just gone into Charizard initially to not take that chip on the Electros, because I think either U-turn or Bug Buzz just made a lot of sense there. So probably made sense to go into Charizard, but I think he definitely could have gone for Hidden Power Rock and just gone for the kill there because Mesprit's not going to really do anything. Maybe if I'm scarfed HP Fire. So maybe that even gives more of an indication that the Genesect's probably Scarf. Though also from the U-turn damage from Tornadus against Mesprit, II knows that I'm pretty physically defensive, so maybe it doesn't necessarily mean he's choice Scarf. Regardless, now I have Charizard in. I have an opportunity to get my Mega off, and I'm going to go right for Flare Blitz. Again, not going to set up because I don't really deal too well with the Girder. Like, I trade, and I don't really want to trade Girder for my Charizard, so I'm going to just go for the Flare Blitz, and I do 35% to Steelix, which is definitely nice, and he was Akaberry, so definitely good. I can hopefully kill the Steelix in the future. And because I did 35%, then I should be doing about 70% of my next Flare Blitz and kill. But if he's max physically defensive, which it looks like he probably is based on the roll that I did there, it's actually not in my favor to kill in another Flare Blitz, and I probably got a high roll with my Flare Blitz. Though he doesn't know if this was like a high roll with Jolly or a low roll with Adamant. He doesn't know that information, so he might switch. I do know that information, so it's also tough for me to like stay in on this, as he could just go for an Earthquake. So I'm going to switch out and go into Electros in case he wants to make the Earthquake play. And he could switch out to maybe Girder or something like that. He goes into Latias. Interesting play here. I'd like to keep the Electros alive. Ideally, pop the berry so I can have more health in the future. And also, if this Latias is not special attack investment, then I probably live a Dragon Pulse. If he's Draco Meteor, then I'm not going to live the hit. But if he's Dragon Pulse, I probably live, activate my berry, and then I could either Toxic or go for Dragon Tail. Probably go for Toxic. You could also go for Calm Mind here, which I guess if I go for Toxic, it's not the worst thing for the Latias. Just fire off damages. But I decided to go into my Aegislash. I don't think you go for Shadow Ball here because it's not going to kill the Electros. And I should be able to pressure with Z Shadow Ball. So he's going to stay in and go for the Calm Mind. So definitely not great there. Would have been nice to get a Toxic or a Dragon Tail off this Latias. And maybe go into Aegislash in the following turn. Though, to be fair, at that point, Shadow Ball has a decent chance. Actually, if it's +1 special attack, that'd be doing the same damage as a Dragon Pulse. So it's really tough to say. Again, if he was special attack invested, then Shadow Ball at +1 would have killed, but Dragon Pulse would have done the same damage. So probably was best for me to just stay in, go for Toxic on that turn. Like, worst case, you switch into something else like a Genesect, or even go for Dragon Tail. But I think Toxic was the play there. But Aegislash is fine. If I go for the Z Ghost, that into Shadow Sneak might be able to kill the Latias, depending if he's max HP or not. But he's not going to risk that. He's going to go right into Drapion, or maybe predicting me to go for the Z Ghost move, or maybe predicting me to not go for the Steel move, or even if he did, like whatever circumstances, Drapion was his switch in. So he makes the right switch in. And now the Latias is definitely going to be an issue because it doesn't have a Toxic on it, and now Aegislash can't use my Never-Ending Nightmare on it in the future. So that's going to be tough for me to break. And I don't know the spread of the Latias. I don't know if it's max special attack. I don't know if it's max HP. Probably max speed, but I don't know which the other of the case is there. So I do 35% to Drapion. It's a pretty annoying roll. I don't know if that's Assault Vest or max special defensive, and I got a minimum roll. It could be either one of those. So not really sure what this is. I feel like just a safe play, like to cover both my bases, is go for a King Shield, and then from there I can make a play. Drapion goes for Toxic Spike. So obviously it was max HP, max special defensive, not Assault Vest, and I got a min roll. So definitely unfortunate there. And I can't remove the T-Spikes because Kartana is defog. So definitely unfortunate there. Yeah, I'm going to just stay in with Aegislash, get off a bunch of damage, because I expected to be slower than this Drapion because I was min speed. But the fact that I went first meant that he went for some Roar or War One or Dragon Tail. So he goes for Whirlwind and gets in Charizard X, which, I mean, it's going to get poisoned at some point, but at least I can stay in and go for Flare Blitzes. He could predict this and go into Mega Latias, so I could go for Dragon Claw. I don't know if I have to make that play yet. I think that's fine. I think I just go for Flare Blitz, which I am not sure if it's my favorite to kill here. I don't think it's my favorite to kill the Drapion because he's probably max HP. But I do get the kill, so that is definitely nice. Don't have to worry about the Drapion anymore, but I am quite low with my Charizard. Now, I could still go for the Healing Wish with my Mesprit, so I have to weigh whether it's worth it to, like, whatever comes in to revenge kill the Charizard, which maybe it's Girder, Mach Punch, maybe it's Scarf Genesect, maybe Torn, probably everything but Steelix. If Steelix comes in, then I probably go for Flare Blitz. At that point, you could go into Mega Latias to bait that out, but we'll see at the play. But I would doubt he's going to do that. So I have to, again, weigh whether I want to take this particular damage that Latias is going to go to kill the Charizard with another Pokemon or not. And with Latias coming out, it assures that it's at least faster than Charizard, which is not that surprising at all. Ultimately, I do think it's worth still keeping his Charizard around for the Genesect because it is quite threatening to my team. Probably going to go for Shadow Ball here. I could have gone into Electros on this play. I don't, and I go into Aegislash. I probably should have gone into my Electros first. I mean, you're not going to Calm Mind on that play. You're going to go for a move that kill my Charizard, but taking a Shadow Ball will deal more damage to me. And also, it's hard for me to break the Latias because I don't have any one strong hitting move to hit this Pokemon with. So as you see here, it goes for Shadow Ball. Does okay damage. But I don't think that's a special attack invested. So definitely unfortunate there. And I probably should have gone into Electros earlier to get a Toxic on this Latias. But I am going to stay in, just go for Shadow Balls. Maybe I get a special defense drop, which in that point forces the Latias to either go for a kill or go for another Calm Mind, and I could go for Shadow Balls and a Shadow Sneak to maybe kill. So I'm going to just go for a Shadow Ball here, and then on the following turn, just assuming that I'm just sacking off the Aegislash, going to go for a Shadow Sneak to try to get some chip, and I do bring the Latias pretty low, which is definitely nice. Aegislash is down. I guess it dealt with the Drapion at least somewhat, and also somewhat dealt with the Mega Latias. So it's not the worst result from the Aegislash. Probably wanted it to do a little bit more, but it was okay. I mean, it also is like basically Aegislash plus Charizard to take on, which are my two best Pokemon, to take on the Mega Latias and the Drapion, which are probably like the second and fifth best Pokemon on the team. So not the greatest trade there. We are going to bring in the Greninja. U-turn probably doesn't kill, unfortunately, so I will go for Dark Pulse to make sure I get enough damage to kill the Latias, but he's going to switch out and go into Tornadus, do 37%. Now, do I go for a Dark Pulse here and try to get a flinch into Tornadus? It is an interesting play. I'm not really quite sure what I think is going to make the most sense, but ultimately, I think it's fine to go for the kill. I could also go get a crit, which would be great. Girder doesn't really want to switch in onto a Dark Pulse, and I do have Mesprit still pretty healthy, so I wasn't too worried about that. So I am going to go for Dark Pulse, and I do not get the flinch, and Tornadus is going to U-turn out and go into Girder. Makes sense, you can go for Mach Punch. Maybe if you're not even really fearing anything, you can go for a Knockoff, assuming that plus Poison will kill, or maybe even that plus a following turn Mach Punch, or go for a Drain Punch. You have a lot of options there. But I'm going to go into Mesprit. I think Knockoff is pretty likely from the Girder here. Again, because I think whatever move I go for with the Greninja, plus a Dark Pulse, or whatever move I go for Greninja is probably not going to kill, and then Knockoff plus Poison probably kills my Greninja. The one downside is, though, that I am in Torrent range, so if I am not Scarfed, which he doesn't know yet, unless if he is Scarfed Tornadus and knows I'm Scarfed Greninja, and he's, like, not max speed, if I go for Hydro Pump, it probably does a lot to Girder, so maybe he's not going to risk that. So I'm going to go into Mesprit, and he's going to switch out back into Tornadus. I don't know what he was predicting there. Maybe the Electros, maybe the Mesprit. But I feel pretty fine staying in with Mesprit and going for a Thunder Wave. I don't think he can kill me with any one move. And he is going to go for a Z, and I believe it was Modest or Timid. Supersonic Skydrake did like 77% max. Like I knew that wasn't going to be able to kill me. So he does get like a pretty high roll with that move, but I do live, and I get a Thunder Wave off from the Tornadus, which almost kills it, but basically doesn't kill it. Or it almost kills it, but not quite. So at this point, I have the opportunity to either go for Psychic and probably not kill the Tornadus, or go for Rocks, which I don't think are going to be terribly helpful, or I go for the Healing Wish and get up my Charizard back to full HP, or even get my Greninja to full HP. That's honestly not a the worst play, but again, I really do want something for the Genesect, especially if it's Choice Scarf. So Charizard is here at max HP. At this point, again, I said earlier, I don't know if the Steelix, I'm pretty sure it's max defensive. Do I go into Electros here, or do I just try to get the kill on Steelix? And it's a roll probably not in my favor. Ultimately, I think it's worth it for me to try to get the damage on Steelix. Even if I don't kill, I can get in Kartana and try to get some setup shenanigans in. Though, Girder being 100% healthy, also not great for Kartana. I do need some damage on Girder before Kartana can really do a bunch of work. But I'm going to go for the Flare Blitz. I get a critical hit, so that might have mattered. But regardless, we get the kill. That is fine. He could have gone into Latias there. Like if you want to be super, super aggressive, but Flare Blitz probably does a lot to Latias. I'm not quite sure if it lives that hit. But Latias comes in now, can go for Dragon Pulse, go for Shadow Ball, or just go for the kill. It's kind of hard. I think I just stay in with Charizard and let it kill me. I guess again, I could have gone into Electros, probably would have lived, got my berry up and gone to like 50-ish%. I don't know how helpful that is, because then the Latias recovers as I go for Dragon Tail, and then it's going to be just harder and harder for me to kill the Latias. So I think this is fine, letting the Charizard go down, and now I can revenge the Latias with the Greninja. Again, because I'm pretty sure it's max speed. Kartana's not going to outspeed. And while it takes a Shadow Ball, it's not going to take a Shadow Ball into, say, a Mach Punch from Girder. And again, ideally I can get a little bit of damage somehow in the Girder before the Kartana sets up. So we have the Greninja here. Again, I have to go for the Dark Pulse, so I get the kill on the Latias. That's great. Still not looking great, though, because the Genesect is still around. So now the Girder comes out. I don't really have a switch into this, so I'm going to go for a Dark Pulse, maybe get some damage on it, but he's going to go for Mach Punch to get a kill. That's fine. Now I'm going into Electros. Electros will live a hit, and then it'll pop my berry and get the 50-ish%. So I think that's fine. I think also going into Genesect could have been a play here. So I am going to just go for Flamethrower. Because the Girder is pretty important to take on the Kartana. He doesn't know if I'm Scarf or whatever the hit is. Tornadus probably loses to Kartana. Kartana might be able to kill Tornadus in 2 hits because it's slower. If Tornadus is going to try to switch in, depending on the move that I go for, or you just get parried and then you give opportunities for Kartana to do stuff anyway. So that's not a great answer to Kartana. So I think Girder is the main response to Kartana. And I think Genesect is probably pretty safe to kill the Electros at this point. So I did think going into Genesect was definitely a viable play. So I'm going to go for a Flamethrower here, predicting that. It doesn't happen, and I get the burn, which is even worse because now I give Girder Guts, and it's definitely not looking great for me right now. But fortunately, he is Iron Fist, so I do get all that HP back. Now, it would have done, let's see, we go back to this previous turn here, see the HP that I was at. I was at 38%, and we see that the Drain Punch does 22%, so because he's Iron Fist, that's going to do more damage than I would have anticipated, or he does 21%, so that would have killed me. So getting the burn there in a Girder was very, very helpful. It gives me maybe a chance to try to win this game. Now, still tough for Kartana to get the win. It's going to have to get into speed boost range. And again, I think killing the Girder is probably going to be the best course of action. If I can get a sub somehow, I mean, I guess whatever I do, I still need to get a Swords Dance boost on it, and kill the Genesect to try to win. And the Swords Dance boost is going to be the only way for me to kill the Genesect. So it's still very tough, but I have a chance. Now I could go into Kartana here, or I just stay in with Electros and go for Thunderbolts. Me doing 34% with Thunderbolt shows that he is some special defense invested Girder, which is definitely unfortunate. I was planning to 3 KO with the Girder even after Drain Punch recovery, so I was thinking I was going to do like 38 to 40% to Girder. So this damage is definitely quite unfortunate. But he goes for a bulk up. I'm not quite sure about that play. It brings him down to 36%, and if I can, or it brings him to 41%. So if I do get a decent roll with Thunderbolt and kill the Girder and still be at this high of a range, we saw with the Genesect, I should be able to live a Bug Buzz, and with my EVs, you're also getting a physical attack boost, so you're definitely not killing my Electros. So at this point, I have to go for the play of just killing with a Thunderbolt, and then I think I have actually a pretty decent chance to win. But I don't kill, and the Girder's going to deal a lot of damage to me. Definitely in a range to where Genesect is going to be able to revenge kill me with a Bug Buzz, or maybe even a Flamethrower, especially after that Mach Punch, and then 2 Flamethrowers are going to just kill the rest of my team. So yeah, I lose this game. Quite unfortunate. I think I was definitely closer with this game than the previous game, but I did let my Electros take damage early. Maybe I risk going into Charizard on the Genesect, which is a tough play, because I think Hidden Power Rock was definitely a viable option on Genesect to bring this game, or even like Hidden Power Ground. You'd probably go Hidden Power Rock just to deal 4 times damage to the Charizard. So I think that was definitely like Rock plus Bug plus Fire. Like, hits my team pretty hard. And then you go like Ice Beam, I guess, for Donphan if you really wanted to, and Virizion. Though you have Flamethrower anyway. So yeah, letting Electros take damage, I guess it's a tough call, but maybe it was a call I had to make. But I think in general, I think the biggest thing was not getting a Toxic or the Dragon Tail a couple times on the Mega Latias going into Electros, knowing that I was probably going to live the hit and then recover a little bit more HP there. I was tempted, which then forced me to go into Aegislash, go for the Z Shadow Ball on the Mega Latias when the Drapion was still around, which I didn't really want to do. I could have Flash Cannon on that turn, protecting him to the switch up, because I could have been Physical Z as well, which wouldn't have mattered with the Calm Mind boost. Going for Flash Cannon on the Drapion, and then still had that big hit in the future. Yeah, really it was just Electros not doing as much as I wanted to. This game was quite unfortunate. So yeah, so now I'm 1-3. Gonna have to win at minimum 3 games. Probably gonna have to win 4 games to make playoffs, which is gonna be tough. Not impossible, but definitely tough. So yeah, again, if you guys are enjoying it, make sure you like the video, consider subscribing, and let me know what you think of this run. Yeah, thanks for watching, and until next time, later guys.